and Martin and Kirsty, I haven't been on any professional speaking courses, and I certainly can't do the poetry. But I have been very inspired by what you were saying this evening. To confess, I will be 90 in 2050, and children, I suppose the youngest will be 55, so it does really help to put things in perspective, doesn't it? And I do want to thank you for inviting me along today to support this extremely worthwhile cause. And I'm very pleased that Will and Jane have made the fold available. For those of you who've been here before, you can see what a great asset it is to the constituency, or to this part of Worcestershire, the whole Herefordshire too, very welcome here as well. But for those of you who've not been before, you can see that really there are some inspiring activities going on here, and we also have a fantastic care farm next door. And I was thinking, as Kirsty was speaking, how wonderful it is to have a college forester. Wasn't that a wonderful job description? Every college should have a forester, and I like to think of Will and Jane can be our college foresters for this part of Worcestershire, because you do such an amazing job. But it is, very important that you're all here this evening and raising money. I think we've heard very eloquently how important it is that we do have young people who go to these different conferences around the world. I think it can seem very easy for those of us who are watching what is going on at these conferences on television in distant lands, not to really realise how it impacts our lives. And so it is extremely helpful and valuable for me to be able to come along to something like this and know that there will be people I have met who are our delegates at that conference. And it won't just be my political colleagues, it will be people who really care about it and who live in my constituency. So that's really, really important. And we also heard from Kirsty and Martin and Matt about how important it is to all work together. It is incredibly important to work together. For me to see a room full of people is always going to have a much bigger message for me as your representative from this area. And so, that is extremely important as well. So thank you for that. And I do think that the message has got through loud and clear. I do think that despite the difficult budgets that we're working with at the moment, that the government has made good its commitment in terms of the fund for climate change adaptation in developing countries. There are so many examples that seem to be happening at the moment around the world, don't there, where things are really affecting people in terms of flooding and landslips and mudslides. I think we see examples on our television screens most evenings at the moment. And I believe in terms of round numbers that the UK itself is putting in almost 3 billion between now and 2014. So I know it's only a small portion of what we hope that the world together can do. But I do think that we've been able, despite difficult budget times, to make sure that we do continue with our commitments in that area. And similarly, I get a lot of angry letters from people, and I get a lot of angry letters that say things like, why are you spending money on X, Y, Z in terms of helping, in terms of our international aid budget. And again, I think it's very important that we all say that we think it is incredibly important, not just morally, but it's also just in our collective interest as human beings to make sure that we help with development in other countries, but also development in a sustainable way. So thank you very much for inviting me along. I feel privileged to be here. I hope you raise lots and lots of money to send as many young people as possible down to Durban. And thank you all for coming along and supporting tonight.